Hello, everybody. Welcome to another installment of A Rebel Without Applause, coming to you as I always do from this, my little television studio apartment right here in the Wood of the Holly. What you just heard were the rhythmic stylings of a very talented jazz artist on the run. What is St. Petersburg's loss is definitely Los Angeles' gain. He's with me on the other side of this digital divide, coming to me from across this massive mountain range called the Santa Monica Mountains, because he's somewhere in the San Fernando Valley. Welcome to Rebel Without Applause, Stepan Vasilyev. How are you, my friend?
Hello, Bill. Everything is good. Thank you for inviting me.
It is more than my pleasure. And your journey to this moment is a journey of special interest. It's a long and courageous journey. You were raised and born and got your musical training in St. Petersburg, Russia, but just a few months ago, you came here all the way from St. Petersburg. Talk to me about your journey from Russia to here.
Yeah, it's a long story. I came to LA in January, so I'm a new one here. It was a long road. It was very hard to me to see that my country is going a certain direction. Sometimes I think it's unreal, all these things. Surrealism. Russian government, they all gone crazy. But I was constantly disagree with Putin's politics before he started the war because of corruption, fake elections, state organized crime, government crime, so many things. So I always supported opposition because it's my country and I was born there. I wanted to make it better for my family, for my children. Yeah, but the last year I was downcast and really did not know what to do and where to go. Yeah, all previous 2022 year I was in depressed mood. Yeah. I could not play music. I canceled most of my concerts. So I thought about how could I help them, all these people. It was so terrible. What I did, charitable concerts to support Ukrainian people. I gave away flyers, anti-war flyers on my concerts. I'm a musician. I did what I could, but I didn't realize how dangerous it was to play concerts to support Ukraine and Russia. So there is a law discrediting of Russian armed force and its operations, imprisonment for up to 5 years. So it was dangerous to speak about my political position with my colleagues because I'm not only a performer, I'm a teacher too. So, and even with friends, it was not safe to speak about political position. People divided in Russia. Friends became enemies. Yeah, and after some events in my life, some disturbing events, I had to leave Russia. I didn't think about what country to move. I just had to leave. Didn't really know if they will let me out. First, I bought ticket to Turkey because it was the cheapest one, and there were not so many, a few countries to go. So the Turkey was the first step. Yeah, and after I moved to US. So now I'm in LA. So yeah, I was looking for a safe place, and I knew that United States has the highest level of human freedom and civil and political rights.
Well, that's encouraging to hear because, over the last 5 or 6 years, we've been in our own struggles in defense of our own democracy right here in the United States. The biggest enemy is within. It's encouraging to hear that this is still a place of refuge where someone like yourself, who so courageously was able to get out of this, his own country in a way to protest what was going on there. Now, you didn't come here alone. You came here with a family. Is that right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but I'm not a hero. I just wanted to be in a safe place. I was afraid for my family, for my children. Yeah, and I'm here with my family, my wife and 2 children.
Now, let's just go back a little bit since we're talking about this war. What was the experience like for you going back? Well, I guess it was February a year ago. Was this a surprise? Was this something that you were fearful could happen? Talk about that period of time right up until the war started and then when it began.
Like I said before the war, I always supported opposition. Some political like Alexei Navalny. So, but then the war started. I didn't know what to think. Really, I thought that all gone crazy. Yeah, it was unreal. I was shocked.
I guess it was a year ago, there was a conscription. They were trying to get more people into the Russian military. Was that something that you were at risk for?
Yes, I think so. I think they drafted every man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course it was against the law because I never served in army because I'm a musician. So, all these things are crazy.
So you went from Turkey to the United States. How?
Yeah, I was there about a month because I was waiting for my family because they had no passports
Oh,
and they were waiting about a month to get them. So, and about a month I spent in Turkey
waiting.
waiting. Yeah, I was waiting.
And how
And I
much?
was looking for a place to go because Turkey is not a safe country.
Right.
Yeah, and I was looking for a place, and
Had you been to the United States or out of? Well, firstly, had you been out of Russia or performed elsewhere before? And had you ever been here to the United States?
no, I have never been in United States, but of course, yeah, I performed a lot of different countries, mostly Europe. I was in Poland, Finland, Sweden, Estonia, Latvia, Ukraine, so many European countries because there are a lot of jazz festivals in Europe. So, and we are close to Europe. So,
I'm guessing that you're not alone. I mean, that there's been a tremendous exodus or people leaving, artists especially from Russia, whether it's musicians or writers or film people or whatever. Do you have many friends that have also left?
yes, I have friends, but not only musicians. Yeah, like you said, a lot of artists, a lot of creative people. Yeah, because they are like I don't know, revolutionaries. They can't live in this country and they can't fight with the government because they are people of art and culture. So we can do what they can do is tell about it to others,
Mm-hmm.
to the whole world.
I'm sitting here reading the newspapers and looking online and following this. Is there something that you'd like to just correct in people's minds about what's really going on in Russia? Like to what extent the population is really behind this, or just the nature of the opposition, just misunderstandings that people like me might have about what's really going on in Russia? Because just from my point of view, I think the best hope to end this war is within Russia, within the political opposition there. And I'm just curious if you have anything that you'd like to share about that.
Yeah, Russia is a big country. Yeah, there are so many different people, nationalities, religions. So the problem in Russia is with people who rule the country. So it's not fair. Yeah, because I think that Putin lives with his own interests. He does not care about people. Sometimes I think it's unreal. Yeah, and common people don't want all this shit. They want to live in peace. Ukrainians, our brothers. We are one people. Why would we fight? I can't understand.
Had you ever performed in Ukraine?
Yeah, I have been several times. I performed. There is a city, Berdyansk. It's on the seashore, and there is a Berdyansk jazz festival. So yeah, it was a nice place, and the festival was very good. A lot of artists from Russia and Ukraine. Yeah, were a lot of jazz festivals in Ukraine. I think the biggest was in Kiev, Jazz in Kiev.
How do I get a gig? I want to get booked. I want to get booked
Yeah,
with Stepan,
yeah.
The
I
world
think
stage all
sometimes.
stars making it to the Ukraine and hopefully Russia sometime sooner. You know, I just want everybody to know I met Stepan in the coolest of hangs here in Los Angeles. And like a homing pigeon, like radar, he found it within weeks of his arrival in Los Angeles. And that's the world stage, which is in a section of Los Angeles called Leimert Park. And every Thursday night it's like a party. At least it's been a party for me for 10 years. It's been like my music school. And just a few weeks ago, I saw this new guy, come up there, and he got on the bandstand, and he's got this really delicate touch with the brushes. And who is this guy? He's totally cool. I'd never seen him before. And we got to talking, and he told me a story. And immediately I felt like this is someone, who I'd really like to talk to. So talk about that experience. You don't know anybody, and there you are at the world stage. And tell me about that.
Yeah, when I came to LA, I found several jazz clubs, several jam stations. I was trying to check all of them. And one day I came to the world stage. I didn't know that it was Billy Higgins Club. I just knew the name, the world stage. And then I came to it. I knew that this place was founded by Billy Higgins. And Billy Higgins is one of my favorite drummer. He did so many records. It was so cool to see so many great musicians in one place. I met you there, so
I don't know about great, but
no, yeah, there were so many fantastic good musicians. Yeah, saxophone players, trumpeters. Yeah, I like your playing too.
oh, well, thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Clarinet not so popular
No more.
instrument.
Nobody plays the licorice anymore.
Yeah. They
Played that last week.
Yeah.
The Stablemates by Benny
Stablemates.
Golson. So I'm just curious about your musical journey as a young person, how you found jazz or jazz found you, and what kind of training was available. What's the scene like in St. Petersburg, and how that came to make such a powerful claim on your soul.
Yeah, my first music teacher, he was a trumpet player. He gave me some records. Yeah, it was mostly trumpeters. I discovered Clifford Brown, Chet Baker, Miles, and I was in love with jazz. So I didn't understand the music at that moment, but I liked the sound and the mood of this music. After I have studied in St. Petersburg State University of Culture and Arts, I have a degree in Bachelor of Fine Arts and Music Education. But I think the most important thing in training is listening to music. So jazz records gave me really good training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, whenever I ask somebody, if they're playing music, I always say, I never say, what are you working? I say, what are you listening to?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Who are you listening to right now? Like for me, I didn't grow up in music. I didn't have music lessons or any of that. I didn't play anything. I was more interested in playing baseball or all this stuff. And then I was a comedian and an actor before I really even touched the clarinet. But once I did, it just grabbed me. And it was like, the reason was not so much, oh, I love the clarinet, which I do. But what I really loved was, how do I play this music? I want to participate. I just don't want to consume. I want to participate. And that guided me. It's not been that successful financially, obviously, in jazz. But if you're looking for a way not to make money, I would encourage someone to get into jazz immediately. That's the best way.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
One of the things I wanted to say, I think it's important for people to kind of make a very powerful distinction between the current political moment in Russia and the beautiful, rich, and extended cultural history of Russia, which spans across so many genre and types of creative endeavors, whether it's Tolstoy or Turgenev or Dostoevsky or Anton Chekhov in the theater or Stanislavski at the Moscow Art Theater or Tchaikovsky, with the classical music or Eisenstein in the cinema and many others. They're not on the tip of my tongue. The Russian contribution to world culture and art is extensive and ongoing. And obviously, you're part of that tradition. And so sometimes some of the most intense cultural flowerings come under the pressure of political tyranny.
Yeah, Russia has a big history. A lot of great people were in Russia, and I think still. Yeah, but I think we had always problem with the people who rule the country. Yeah, I don't know why, but looking back in the history, so I understand that every several every 10 or maybe 20 years in Russia something happens. I don't know, maybe it's just a place in the world there can all this happen. Maybe it's not a good place to live because uh, I can explain. I can give you an example with some places in the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
There is some islands, yeah, in the ocean. There are always earthquakes, for example, or tsunami. So, and they are not guilty, these oceans, yeah, because they just situated in this place. So, yeah, and I think maybe Russia is the same.
Jazz is a quintessentially Western expression. To me, it is clearly the music of freedom. It is the music that invites multicultural expression. Jazz can find its roots in the American Black slave experience, but without those European instruments, it would have taken a different form. So essentially, I feel like jazz is the living expression of the hopefulness for like a multicultural democracy. I know it's why it reached me, why I wanted to play it in ways that I maybe couldn't even articulate or understand. I'm guessing that was a similar thing for you on some level.
Yeah, of course, jazz is music of freedom. So that's why it was born in US. So I think the one country that there it could be it was United States. Yeah, and all people from all the world did something for this music, and it's a mix. Yeah, it's not only African culture or Jewish culture or European culture. So it's the mix of all cultures. So and I think that's the reason why it's so free. Yeah, that the music is so free because we are all nationalities, all countries in one mix. So it's cool.
It's the music of the human family. Talk about, Stepan, what
Yeah.
the jazz scene is or was like in St. Petersburg or Moscow or elsewhere.
There are so many good musicians in Russia because I think today, because of internet, we have information. You can live everywhere, on the planet. So and have information about how to play, what to play. Yeah, you can listen records. So there are a lot of great musicians. Yeah, and there are a lot of young talents. I think you can find good jazz artists everywhere on the planet.
Let's say during a normal week for you in Petersburg, would there be like a couple jam sessions or clubs you could go to, or was there enough gigs to be financially supportive? And also, was the public attending them?
Yeah, we have several places, several jazz places. It's not so many like in LA because in LA every day you can visit a jazz concert and not only one. So hundreds, I think you can not maybe hundreds, but several concerts in a day. In Russia we have jazz clubs, but it's not so popular because jazz music is not popular and not so many people visiting these concerts. Yeah, we have jam stations too. Yeah, we have traditional jazz jam station. Yeah, because we have musicians can play traditional jazz. So
Well, I was impressed, watching you and listening to you. Like, we got into some forms that were a little bit different. You were hip to it. You didn't have a moment's hesitation up on the bandstand. So clearly you've had a chance to listen. I'm curious, during Soviet times, before the internet, if those records found their way into Russia and people were listening, or what do you know about that?
yeah, I know that most of the records were forbidden. Yeah, were
Really?
forbidden because yeah, in Soviet Union, jazz was like a music of freedom, but it and that's why it was forbidden. So, but anyway, there were jazz artists, good jazz artists. Yeah, they were trying to play music, to do some records.
So the music was finding its way across these boundaries, even though it was forbidden. Was your own family or your parents, were they musicians? Did they introduce you to the music, or how did you sort of first start hearing it?
My parents were not musicians, but they liked to listen to the music. So we have a lot of vinyl recordings, cassettes. So it was different music, classical, it was some Russian popular music. So my first teacher, music teacher, introduced me with jazz.
So you didn't go the classical route or into the conservatories. Also Russia turns out the great ballerinas, and there's such a rich tradition there.
Yeah, of course. My daughter training rhythmic gymnastic is like gymnastic with a bullet, like
Right.
dancing. Yeah, it's very popular in Russia. So, and
Is
you
she
have some good clubs, rhythmic gymnastic clubs here in LA. So,
is she doing it here too?
yeah, of course, yeah.
Oh, good.
We found a good gymnastic club.
In the
We're
valley
still
somewhere.
training.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Charleston, yeah.
Oh, okay. Now, here's a question, and it's political. How long do you think Putin will be able to hold on to power?
Oh, it's very hard question.
I know.
uh, I have no hope that he will leave this place. Only if he will die.
He has such a powerful grip on the reins of power. You don't anticipate that, for example, there might be some sort of revolt amongst the generals or the ministers and refuse to follow his orders. You don't think that's a realistic possibility going forward?
Yeah, sometimes I thought, but it was a long time ago that we could change something. That's why I supported opposition. So, and I was trying to do something for my country. But now I think I realized that the problem is much bigger, and I think it's
Unrealistic.
unrealistic. Yeah.
When people have asked me, I said, and perhaps I was looking through rose-colored glasses, but in World War I, as Lenin famously said, the Russian soldiers voted with their feet. That spelled in large part the end of the Tsar, and the beginning of the revolution. And I just thought, well, maybe this will happen here, that the soldiers who have been just shattered will vote with their feet. That would, maybe spell the end of Putin, but hasn't happened yet.
People scared because of the jail, because they scared, they don't want to be killed. So that's why I think it's impossible. Yeah, but who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah.
Well, I mean, like sometimes we're surprised in history. So, for example, most of the American experts did not predict the fall of the Soviet Union when it happened. What's going on here? So it's like a crack in a dam. Sometimes you can't see it, but when it blows fast, and it sometimes feels like a surprise. And I thought perhaps that might be a possibility in Russia. I guess that's an open question, but you don't seem too confident about that.
Can you explain it maybe in some other words? Because
Well, what I'm saying is sometimes we get surprised by political events.
yeah,
We don't see them coming. Like I said earlier, the American government didn't even predict the fall of the Soviet regime. It just came quickly and like, what? And
yeah,
so maybe there could be a similar surprise.
maybe who knows? But I'm not sure because I lived in Russia, so I know the situation. But who knows? Yeah, it was in the history, but maybe it could be.
Talk to me a little bit about Alexei Navalny.
Yeah, this is the man who, yeah, he was trying. Yeah, he tried to do something. Yeah, there were a few people in the government, political people who tried. I think a lot of people in Russia supported him and still continue to support because we have some meetings. Even in LA, we have meetings to support Navalny because he is in prison this moment. He needs our support. So what we can do? We can express our position. Yeah, we can talk about it. I can, like a musician, I can play music. I can talk with people through my instrument. I think every person can do something, and maybe it could help to change something in our country. So, but Alexei Navalny, yeah, he was one, not the one, but one of the several maybe political guys who who tried.
He's in prison and he's still trying, I guess, in his own way.
Yeah, of course he's still trying. Yeah.
Yeah. And how are you digging LA?
Of course, it's not my home. Yeah, but if you move to another country, another city, you're officially starting your new life, in foreign land, so without people you know, and that means that you have to survive. First, first time you have to survive on your own. Learn about the new culture, learn the language, and build new life step by step. Yeah, I feel welcome here. There are so many cultures and people from all over the world in LA and in US. So they all live in one country, and it's really great.
You're my new friend from Russia, and I want to extend a welcome hand to you. So what we got to do is go to like Koreatown, bring your wife, whatever, and I'll show you some of the cool places. Because LA isn't just LA. LA is also Korea. It's Thailand. It's all these Asian influence.
Of course.
You've already been down into the hood, in Leimert Park. So you got to get some of the soul food barbecue action going on. You can begin your journey of being an international person. That's sort of what I like about living here myself. I grew up here. I'm from here. My family is here. But I do love the multicultural, international cross currents that make my life, way more interesting and fun than if I lived someplace that was just boring white people, So why Los Angeles? There's many places. There's New York. There's tremendous Russian communities all over this country. Why LA?
The New York, I think, the biggest city in US, maybe in America. So, but the Los Angeles is big too. I think it's the second place, and I was looking for a big city because it has more opportunities for me and for my family. So there are so many musicians here in LA, because I think if I moved to a little town, so there were not musicians.
I think jazz is needs a metropolis, needs cities to flourish. Most of these jazz musicians from small towns, they're, how the hell do I get out?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you're right.
Well, Stepan, I want to thank you for being here, man, and I want to wish you good luck, and also want to help people here understand, really the Russian story here. I suspect you've known people that have had to go to Ukraine and fight, maybe even die. So I do think it takes courage to be a jazz refusnik. And I'm hopeful that this catastrophe will end. And, it's no accident that someone who's in pursuit of freedom is playing the music of freedom. And to me, that's jazz. And, I think just the thing about tyranny in general is that tyranny cannot survive next to freedom. A Putin-led Russia cannot survive next to a neighbor that is enjoying the cultural fruits of freedom and the economic fruits of freedom. Thank you, my friend, for being on a Rebel Without Applause. And folks, come on down to the world stage and check out Stepan Jazzy Vasilyev. The guy swings. He's cool. This guy's got a cool vibe, and being hip and cool can come from anywhere on earth. Is there any other place where you're performing in LA that maybe I could find out about? Because you're actually exploring. I'm just lazy. I lived here my whole life.
Yeah, I visited a lot of jazz clubs.
Which is your favorite one?
The world stage, of course, because I met there you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I visited the York Club, the Mint Club. I visited Rhythm Room.
Where's that? I don't even know about it.
Yeah, it's in downtown. Yeah, it's a cool place. And I think they have jam stations at Thursday too.
Check it out,
For example, yesterday I played with Hero, the piano player who was at the world stage.
Well, Hero is a great player. And here again, he comes from Japan, and you come from Russia, and I come from Hollywood, and everybody can come from everywhere. We can speak the same language. I'll just relate this one story before I leave. Some years ago, I went to Vietnam, and I was traveling, and I was in Ho Chi Minh City, formerly Saigon, and there was one jazz club, and I traveled with my clarinet. And I went there, and I mean, I didn't know anything. I did not know one word of Vietnamese, but I did know autumn leaves.
Yeah.
And they said, "You want?" I said, I didn't even know what to say. I just went, and they went, okay."
Yeah, this is the language. Yeah,
Yeah.
jazz is the language.
The
Yeah,
language
right.
of jazz, and you speak it fluently, my friend. So welcome to LA, and thanks for your story. And to folks out there, thanks for listening. Until next time, as I always say, namaste, shalom, and aloha. By that I mean namashaloha. Dig it.
Aloha. Yeah.
Daddy-o.
Thank you, Bill, for inviting me.